a great time since he decided to come back.
Keyshawn, J. Willimax, ESPN Radio Sirius XM Channel 80, Mike Tannenbaum, our very own Shoji, ESPN front office NFL insider with us. Good morning, Mike T.
Gentlemen, good morning. Great to be with you.
What's up, Mike? I'm in your neck of the woods.
West Palm.
Oh, yeah?
Yes,
I'm free for
down
lunch,
here
Keith.
with you.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, if only the NFL gave us something to talk about once in a while, Mike T. What do you think about Bruce Arians stepping down?
I think, first of all, we should celebrate him for being a world champion, a true champion of diversity. He's a guy that really follows through what he says. And I think moving the story forward, if I'm the Buccaneers, I think I've improved my chances of keeping Tom Brady in the future. I've worked with Coach Belichick. I've worked with Coach Bowles. But he's much more similar to Bill Belichick and his style than what Bruce Arians was. And I think watching the situation there, Tom Brady's going to be more comfortable in that environment. So if I'm the Buccaneers, I actually think this is a tremendous positive. And the other thing, guys, when you think about Pierre-Paul, Ndamukong Suh, we talk about the aura of association and how offensive players are going to want to play for Tom Brady. Likewise, those defensive players, those free agents, if they don't get what they want on the market, playing for Todd Bowles is going to be a massive positive. So I think this is a big, big win for Tampa, not just short term, but long term.
Yeah, I think when you speak of long term, Mike, I got to go back to Todd Bowles, a guy that I know very, very well, kind of comes from the same tree as we both do in the Bill Parcells situation. But I think when you speak of him as a head coach, his success is going to be tied to his offensive coordinator. And when Byron Leftwich leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and gets a real head coaching job out there in the world, that replacement at the offensive coordinating spot has to be so important for Todd Bowles. He can't make another mistake on a Jeremy Bates type situation because that was a complete failure in New York for the New York Jets. He's got to get somebody and let them run the offense and just deal with that. It reminds me a lot of the Hall of Fame coach Tony Dungy that I had with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Dungy was a great guy, a great coach, too loyal to a fault, though, with his assistant coaches. And when it came time for the offensive side of the ball, we struggled finding things that would get us over the hump. Once he got to Indy, he had an offense in play. They won the Super Bowl.
You know, Key, I think you're making such an interesting point, which is I think you just brought us inside the meeting with Joel Glazer, Jason Light, and Todd Bowles, which is this. Over the next 2 years, it's reasonable that we're going to have to recruit Tom Brady really hard. It's reasonable to think that Byron Leftwich won't be here. He was a finalist in Jacksonville. If we have any modicum of success, he's going to be on everyone's short list. So what can we do today on March 31st, 2022 to start preparing for next January where Byron Leftwich graduates and we have to do everything within reason to keep Tom Brady? Who are the 3 or 4 people on the planet, pro, college, people that are out right now? Let's look at that list and let's work our tails off starting today so we're ready to go, because we should expect Byron Leftwich not to be here and we need to have a plan. I think you're making a great point. And if we were running the Buccaneers, obviously winning games this year is paramount, but beyond that, that succession plan is absolutely critical.
Mike, I'm curious, why do you think they went with Bowles over Byron Leftwich for a head coach? And I know people can say, well, obviously head coaching experience, but I've seen a lot of coaches being hired this season alone, this offseason, who haven't had head coaching experience.
Yeah, I think they're in a win-now mode. Todd Bowles is an experienced coach, not only as a head coach, but he's coached for a long time. And I think Byron Leftwich has a bright future, but we're in a win-now mode, just not only with, obviously, the quarterback, but some of these other contracts. So I think it's the best of both worlds. But, Jay, Will, going back to Key's point, I think if we're running the Buccaneers, we can't expect Byron Leftwich to be there long-term. Again, he was within a whisker being the head coach of the Jaguars, so they're going to be good again. He's going to be a hot candidate, and we got to be prepared for him to go.
And it gives them both opportunities to get jobs, right? Your Todd Bowles has a job. He's in place. You don't have to worry about him getting put in the freezer next year And then Byron Leftwich now gets an opportunity to really go get a job that makes sense for him and not just a setup job for failure.
Yeah, and I think it's meaningful, guys, that they announced last night that it was a 5-year deal for Todd Bowles. So it's very clear, like, he's the guy moving forward. This is not a Band-Aid or like, he's the coach for the next 5 years, and let's plan accordingly. And again, I think he makes it, the offensive coordinator is going to be so critical there, not just short term, but long term.
Yeah. So how much of a will there be a drop off at all, do you think, from Arians to Bowles, or does his head coaching experience let him just kind of pick right up?
Well, look, I like Bruce Arians, I really do, and they won a title. But candidly, Max, in all authenticity, this is a massive opportunity. I've seen Todd Bowles coach. He's a great coach. He knows how to develop young players. You look at his defenses, it's not just the great players that he's had, it's the young guys that he's made better. So to me, this is an opportunity to actually take your program forward, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Those players love Todd Bowles. They revere him. So, and like I said, I've been in the building with him every day. He's a great coach. This is a great moment for the Buccaneers, and we want to thank Coach Arians. What he did was amazing, but we're moving forward, and we have our coach for a long time.
You know, Max, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for some of the players, because when you're used to getting dog cursed, screamed at, hollered, snatched on the sidelines, things of that nature, and then Todd Bowles comes up to you and he puts his arms around you and smiles when you make a mistake, it's a big difference. I went from Bill Parcells to Coach Tony Dungy. Bill Parcells screaming and cursing and threatening and this, that, and the other, to Coach Dungy just looking at you and going, "We'll get them next time." So it's a big difference.
What's more effective, Key?
You can get it. You can win both ways. You win both ways. It just, now you have to adjust that temperature to know, okay, this coach is different. You can skin a cat many different ways.
Mike, I am curious from Tom Brady's perspective. You said, hey, to continue to recruit him. Like, what do you think that relationship now becomes between Tom Brady, Byron Leftwich, and Todd Bowles?
It's job 1, 2, and 3, Jay Will. Everything we do as the Buccaneers, does this help or hurt our chances of keeping Tom Brady? That's all that matters. Nothing else matters, because everything else is replaceable except for him. So, again, I've been around Todd Bowles every day. I've worked for Coach Belichick twice. They're their own men, but I'm just telling you, Tom Brady thrived in a system that was Bill Belichick, and we all know what that is. Great attention to detail, complete accountability. That's Todd Bowles. I think in a lot of ways, Tom Brady's going to get the best of both worlds. He's going to get more of that system and atmosphere and culture of accountability, but in a different style. And again, I think Todd has this real unique ability to be in charge, but admired, be respected, and players love playing for him. So that's why, to me, this is a real positive and a real opportunity. I know it sounds crazy because he's replacing a guy that won the Super Bowl, but they're in a better position today than they were yesterday, because this is about their future, and their future is a lot brighter now with Todd Bowles as their head coach.
You know what, Max and Jay, the thing is, when you look at this situation, it's all about Todd Bowles staying on the defensive side of the ball and let Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady manage the offense. Big decisions, down and distance, challenging red flags, things of that nature. You deal with Todd Bowles on that. But as far as the offense go, put up a wall. You stay to the left, we stay to the right.
Thanks, Mike. Key, look, he's set up for success, it sounds like to me, Brady.
Yes.
Although I got to tell you something. Whatever system, whatever way they were doing it, Brady went to Tampa, just like same kind of success he had in New England. 2 seasons, won the Super Bowl, made a real good run. Almost got to the NFC Championship. This dude.